From the clip you just saw, talking about the advert being aired, when there was a problem in a particular spot in a local government, the lady went straight to the local government council headquarters to make the report for that patch or that pothole to be fixed. But if the local government doesn't have money at their beck and call to go fix the bad spots on that road, do you think they will respond? That is where autonomy of local government comes into play. The federal government have accused the state government of crippling the local government, which is the third tier of government in Nigeria, because they don't want them to be free. The present administration, talking about the former president, Muhammadu Buhari's administration, made it clear that local government autonomy is a must, that if they're given allocations to go straight down to the local governments. But what do we have today in the country? You get to see over 95% of state governors still controlling indirectly the resources that was given to the local government. They are refusing, so to speak, to obey that order, to grant the local government the autonomy by still handling the allocations given to the local government by the federal government. How does this really help the local government to thrive? The third tier of government, the defiance of the state's governors on local government autonomy. That is what we are taking a look at today's edition of This Morning on ITV. And joining us straight from the USA, New York City to be precise, we have a vibrant youth, a political analyst, political affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Benjamin Mayor. Benjamin, how are you doing this beautiful Sunday morning?
Good morning, Mr. Whitson. I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me to the program.
All right. And with me here in the studio, he is a lecturer in Shaka Polytechnic, a vibrant political analyst. Join me to welcome Jimmy Oko. Jimmy, welcome to TMI on this edition.
Good morning, my brother.
I appreciate your coming.
Thank you very much for calling on me.
All right. Now, I want to start off from you, Benjamin. I believe that you know how the local government works, and it's been a long time since I've been crying for autonomy. Though I was given to the State House of Assembly to sign in for the autonomy, most of them rejected the autonomy and that of the local government. But the Buhari-led administration, yes, then made sure that local governments, so to speak, are free from spraying off the state government. But it's like the state government, they are not really listening. They are not really doing what they ought to do to really make the local government to be free to do their own thing in terms of finances. What do you have to say about the defiance of our state governors?
Thank you for having me on your program. It is a very pathetic situation where we find ourselves in Nigeria. You know, a country where we urge to have a law that is functioning for everybody and it's not and it's going an opposite direction. It's heartbreaking, and it gives rooms for people to still be committing the same crime and all that. I see it as a way of making local government officials as their errand boys. That's the way I see it. If there is a law that is backing them to be autonomous from state government, from federal government and all that, I don't see any reason why a state government should be able to control the finance of the local government if we are all law-abiding. And another thing I also want to say is that the security agencies who are supposed to be law enforcers in the society, they are not doing their primary duty. They are not doing their primary duty in the sense that they're supposed to be a department that is being put in place to checkmate the activities of the state government, the federal government, even at the federal level, and to also look at the way the local government is spending the funds that is being allocated to them. If you look at the situation in Nigeria, if you actually want to address it, you have to address it from the grassroots. It's not from the state level, it's not from the federal level. And even at the state level that you're talking about, most of them are in local government. So most of the local government who are in the capital city, or rather who are in the city themselves, in the urban areas, they are not given free hand to perform. Instead of then having an allocation of like 2 billion a month, that 2 billion actually came, they signed for it. And the state government is telling you, okay, because you signed for it, I am the one that put you there, and you should take this, and this person will not be able to work. Because what is being given is being seen as a salary. They are not given the autonomous to work, to use the money that is meant for them to work. And you don't expect development and infrastructural development to come in such local government. I think the security agencies need to wake up to their duty to start carrying out the duty which they are being delegated to do. And at the same time, the local government officials, or rather whoever that is in charge, they need to come up with their own society, with their own organization to actually fight for it. Because if they don't, nothing will be done. You can see what is happening in Edo State, where local government election have been planned several times, and they are looking for a way to conduct the election. Only one person is just making a decision, and is looking for a way to make sure it favors him and it favors his party. That is the essence which we have gone. I think Nigerians also need to start speaking up. We shouldn't just say, it is not my business and it is not their business, because whatever decision they take, it has a direct effect on the populace. Thank you.
All right, all right. I'll come back to you, Benjamin Mayor. Well, Jimmy, you heard him. He talked about the political states that the local government find themselves in, because talking about those are the urban area, but right now talking about all of the local government put together, not having these free hands to control their resources, to control their finances, in order to make the local government a safe haven for the people living in the grassroots region. Take it up from there.
All right. Thank you very much, my brother. The idea, it is quite decryable, though, that Nigeria that has we've existed for a whole lot of years with our constitution clearly spelled out some very important things. But unfortunately, politicians and those in government do not want things to function because they just want it to favor them. Our founding fathers, in their own wisdom, when they chose the system of federalism we are running today, decided to say, yes, there is need for us to have a branch of government that is closest to the people, because not everybody is going to have access to the president, the governor, and all of that. And with that wisdom, they were able to bring governance to the people, because that is where the governance is actually needed. Because, okay, if you look at what is happening today, nobody wants to stay in rural areas again. Everybody, the pressure is now on our cities. Rural urban migration has always been on the increase. The reason is because people are no longer feeling the effect of the government in their own rural places. Nobody wants to stay there again. So at the end of there are some duties which the constitution that our founding fathers in their wisdom decided to inscribe in the book to guide us. Section 7, yes, a popular section of the 1999 Constitution, which clearly states that in our federal component, there shall be local government, and there are duties which the Constitution allocated to that very tier of government. But unfortunately, nothing like that is happening today. You know that very important things like roads that connect rural areas, all of these are jobs that are given to the local government to do. Then primary health centers, local markets, and all of those ones. These are some of the jobs that are given to the local government to do. And all of that things that will always come. Just remember the analogy you started with. The accessibility to government is only possible to people when the local governments are functional. But unfortunately, what has happened over the years is kind of a situation where you have cabals, the state governors, coming together to say we must frustrate this effort. And I do not also think that the federal government has shown enough will. Let us remove politics out of this. Yes, we have the first attempt that was made by President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2004, yes, which didn't see the light of the day. But President Goodluck Jonathan took it off from there in 2014, and that to some extent, went further. The state assemblies were now called in, do that. The same problem we are talking about played in. That the state governors instructed all the assembly members, you must vote against this thing. All across the country, that happened. Majority of the state assemblies, which the Constitution expects us to go through, rejected the proposal. And even as we speak, it is very funny to know that about 7-8 states assemblies have still not forwarded their reports since 2014.
Since 2014?
Yeah, up to now. They've not forwarded. So it is kind of a cabal which the state governors have set up to kill the local government because, after all, they are the one who put them there. I think both the administrative and the financial autonomy for the local government, for us to get that, we will not only address the political issues, we must go as far as even the points where the local government executives are elected. Okay. We must go there. What is the independence that is given to the electoral umpire to elect them? If the governor, of course, governors are the ones that are appointing the chairman, then the chairmen have nothing to say.
I'll come back to you on that, Jimmy. Well, you heard him. He talked about the federal government not showing strong will. Does it not mean that the governors are stronger than the Constitution, or they've been able to twist the federal government from making them to allow the local government to operate freely? Benjamin.
Although I wasn't hearing the other speaker very clearly, I was just only heard the voice. But based on your recap, I will be able to comment that it's not that the governors have been able to connive with the federal government, or rather talk with the common agreement with the federal government to be in control of local government. I see stand on the existing protocol that said, or rather my first point, where I made mention of the security agencies not doing their job. For example, there's a law. Do you expect the people who have made that law to also be the one that will persecute anybody who err against it? No. For example, we have the Economic and Financial Crime Commission. We have the police, we have the civil defense, and we have the army, who have different responsibilities. But if you look at this department, this security department I just mentioned, or agencies, they have different roles that they are primarily, by law, is supposed to concentrate on. This law is there, that the local government should be able to have autonomous and have a free hand to spend whatever that is being allocated to them. The structure which the local government is built is faulty. So until you repair that structure, the law will never work. For this law to work, it's not the people who are oppressing the people in the local government that will make it work. They are not the one to repair the structure. They are not the one to restructure the structure. The people that need to do it are the security agencies who have the power to carry out these activities. And I'm very, very pained that most of this local government, you go there, you don't even see officials, you don't even see workers in this local government. You begin to ask yourself, do we have a government in this local government? Yes, we do. Most of them are living in government house. Most of them are living in the capital, in the urban areas, where they can easily access the governor and become wherever the governor is going. They will just be part of the entourage. That is not the way it's supposed to be. Until we begin to follow the rule of law, everybody begin to obey the law of the land, then Nigeria will not move forward. Most people who are running, those politicians who are running to Western country today, they see how things works. There are laws in the local level, there are laws in the state level, there are laws in the federal level, and everybody's bound to abide to them. And if you don't, there is always a stiff consequences for that. So you cannot just tell me that the state governors or state government have, in conjunction with the federal government, to make it look like that. The laws are there. For example, I don't want to go into politics for now, but let me put it this way. If one local government could come up to say, okay, this is our right, they take the state government to court and take it to the highest level. The way Nigerians are pointing and looking at the directions of the judiciary today, Nigerians will also put eyes on the judiciary to say, this is the right thing to do. This is what the Constitution says. This is what the law says. So none of them will be able to manipulate the law to give another verdict that does not favor the local government. Since the law is already there, I still believe that the local government can rise up and defend what belongs to them. Because the governor at the state level, or rather the government at the state level, they receive this finance. They ask the local government to come forward. They sign for those things. And when EFCC eventually come up to them, maybe in time and later on, you will not be able to hold these governors responsible. Because if you find out, these local government chairmen and the officials, they are the ones signing for this finance that is being allocated to them. That is the reason why I said it is important and it's pertinent that the security agencies take up this matter, look into it to see those who are erring against the law, those who are disobeying the law, those who need to be persecuted, whether immunity cover that persons or not, because this has to do with gross misconduct. And this is finance that belongs to, let me use the word government. Local government is a government. It's a local government of its own. It's a government of its own. It has its own parliament. So until they rise up to take the state government to the court, to the judiciary, so this is what we want. This is what ought to be our own. We will not have headway. We'll continue to talk and talk and talk and talk. I know corruption have gone deeper into the government, federal and the state level and the local level. Nobody will want to take up the legal battle with any state government, but somebody has to rise up and do something. Just like the way obedient are rising up today to defend the democracy of Nigeria and the constitution of Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, I'll definitely come back to you. Well, you heard him. He talked about the anti-graft agency, EFCC, doing their job because they expect the local government to start fighting for themselves to raise a constitutional matter. He also talked about, this local government suing the governors of each state of the federation. I don't want to let them go, so to speak, right now, in quotes, to court. Why is it not being done, Jimmy?
All right. The truth is that, it is actually not as easy as that. The local governments understand that there are court processes to addressing matters. And security agencies also do not find routes in coming into the issue. The idea is this. Don't forget that the constitution we use was inherited from the military. A little adjustment have been done, but no total adjustment have ever been done. Only when we notice one or two things that we say, okay, we want to kind of amend this. Yes, the constitution has a section that recognizes the local government. But the same constitution allowed that state and local government have joint accounts. You see, that's contradiction. Yes, that's contradiction. So since the constitution allows that, you cannot come to take the state governors to court and say, yes, why are you using the money that belongs to the local government? Because after all, the money comes to the account, the governor signs for it. It is his duty to now disburse to his local government. But unfortunately, because he is the one who now puts the local government chairman there, he is now able to say, okay, I will use it. He determines. He calls the local government chairman and says, okay, how many employees do you have? Then, in fact, the situation we have in Nigeria is that state governments are almost paying the salaries of local government employees by themselves. They take the statistics of the employees, send the money, okay, this is what you are going to pay. This is your whole salary. The local government does not execute any project anymore. So what audacity do they have to even forward a proposal to the state government and say, I want to do this and expect money? No, it doesn't happen like that anymore. Any project that is going on in the state, if it is not by federal, then it is by state government. Local government, nothing. That is the issue. That is why you've seen that the previous administrations, they decided to say, okay, that aspect of the constitution that recognized the joint account, let us address that. Let the local government have full autonomy like this. But the constitution requires that a two-thirds majority of the 36 state assemblies must sign that.
Agree to it.
Yes. But what we had, it was not enough. And the rest refused to submit. So the thing is this. Why, earlier, we mentioned that the federal government has not shown enough will. During the administration of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo as president, he had some issues with Lagos state government then, led by the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He said that Bola Ahmed Tinubu as governor was creating local government, more local governments in Lagos. He did not approve that the state government shouldn't have done so. And because of that, his punishment was, I am not going to send you allocation anymore. Yes. But when you have things like that, these days, it is only the political sentiments that makes the president to say, oh, this one is an opposition party, I'm not going to send allocation, I will delay allocation and all that. But the right way of using such punishment, the president is not using that. Then later you are, yes, this is already in the constitution that local governments have their jobs to do. Then it now depends on the way, kind of, the president is having interpretation on it. How much effrontery he has to now buttress on it. If the president is saying, yes, is it not the same federal government of Muhammadu Buhari that we had directive from court several times that were ignored? But the same federal government is telling you, yes, the state didn't want this to work. It's in the constitution, they don't want it to work. But you still send allocation. What is wrong with the federal government asking the state government to submit, to tell all the local government to submit accounts? The revenue mobilization allocation fiscal committee should ask the 774 local governments in Nigeria to submit their accounts. Submit your account and do so. Then you cannot render account to the state government. If the federal government has the will, has demonstrated enough will as that, this issue would have long been addressed.
All right. You heard Jimmy. He talked about telling the local government to submit their accounts directly to the federal government for them to be funded. He also talked about, the willingness of the federal government to put a stop to the strangulation of by the state government of the local government, right? Now, do you now see how all this, so to speak, will work out in the nearest future? Do you see this administration telling the local government to send their accounts directly for them to be funded? Benjamin.
When I was adding up the second point, I made mention of corruption. It's like you are telling somebody who built an engineer that built a faulty foundation to criticize it. It's not going to be possible. The corruption in Nigerian politics in general is totally outweighing the ones who are less corrupt in Nigerian politics. The people who are at the federal level that you are making mention of, where are they coming from? Are they not the one from the state level? Most of them are either ex-governors,
yes,
they are ex-commissioner of state. They have benefited from the system before. That's the reason why I said it's not going to work. It will not work except we have a corruption-free person at the federal level. For example, as the president of Nigeria. If we have somebody who has nothing to hide, who has a very clear character, who has no questionable character, who has that compaction and that integrity, all those things that he may mention will come into force. But at this particular point, I don't think his idea, or rather his opinion, is count. I don't think in this particular situation is going to be looked upon to, because let me make an example to Edo State. I'm smiling because there are things I'm supposed to mention that I don't want to mention, so I don't go into
the rule. Yeah.
You understand? So the current Senate in our former governor of Edo State, Comrade Adam Boshomole, I want to give him his credence. He has done well when he was a governor of Edo State. But now he's in the Senate, and he benefited from this system that we're talking about. So do you think that kind of person will wake up and raise an objection to such crime that is being committed in Edo State? No, he will not. Because that's where he benefited from. Because people will go and ask him, point fingers to him to say, is that not what you benefited from? You benefited from it. I believe Oshomole did not conduct local government election for how many years when he was in government? So when you say people from the federal, you have to ask yourself, who are the people from the federal? It's not the recycled politicians who left from the local government, from local government to state level, from state level to the federal level. That's the question you need to ask yourself. The answer is clearly right in front of you. When you want to use federal government or federal might to deal with somebody who are at the state level, it's like you want to open a secret that brought you to the level where you are. It is going to be very difficult. None of them will want to do that, because by the time they venture into such move, or rather raising an objection to what is happening in another state, they will be criticized. They will be totally criticized, and that will bring a better change on a very in a better sense. It will bring a better change, but nobody will want to do it, because that is where they are all benefiting, and they are also benefiting from it. And another thing I want to draw your attention to is that people who are in the House of Rep, who are in the House of Red Chamber, Senate, and the local government, and other ministerial position in the federal government level, they have been commended by their party members, by their party state governors, from their local government, from their state. So if somebody like, let me use the word for example, the governor of Lagos State, recommending a federal minister to the federal level, and you expect that minister, or rather a senator who won an election under the same platform of their party, coming to the federal level to criticize what that person is doing? No, they put their party interest at first. They put their sponsor interest at first. They don't even look at the conflict of interest. Yeah, I don't want to use the word conflict of interest here. They look at the interest of the people that is recommending them. They look at the interest of the people of their party, people who are saying, okay, these are the party stewards, these are the party chieftain that recommended them to be who they are in that particular position. They will not like to speak up against it. That's the essence why, that's the reason why I say, in this particular position, this situation, this dilemma local government find themselves, it is very easy on how they can go about it. I believe in the rule of law. I believe in due process. That's what Peter Obi has taught all of us. Everybody has to follow due process. Let them go to the court. Let the constitution and the law that provided for them to be autonomous, for them to manage the funds by themselves, the allocation allocated to themselves by themselves, and let a responsible son, senior advocate of Nigeria, represent them. In the 774 local government we have in Nigeria, they can come together. Even not all, because the ones who are there are just an errand boys who cannot even prove their track record. If 20% or 30% can come up together and say, okay, let's do this, they can go to court and they will win this. They will win this case at ease.
Okay.
Not even stressing, because Nigerians will jump on it. Like I said, the development and the infrastructural development of Nigeria rests on the shoulders of the local government officials and rests on the shoulders of the local government.
Okay.
So until we begin to get it right from the local government, the state government will just be playing around. They will just be telling you, building street light and commissioning it.
All right.
The state government will just be telling you, blowing grammars for money tonight, like what is happening in those states right now.
All right.
I think it's something that the Nigerians need to back up the local government for, especially those who are in civil society organization. Like I always said, there is nothing you do in the state without collaborating or going in conjunction with civil society, with NGOs, international communities, and private organizations.
Okay.
They need to come up and speak up for the state government and for the local government. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, Benjamin, thank you so much for your wonderful analysis. Now, you see what he mentioned. He said all these persons we are trying to say to probe or to make it right in local government, they benefited from that same scheme. And of course, some of them are in the Senate, they are in the House of Representatives. They cannot turn against what they benefited from. Do you think that this is just the beginning of the end of our local government, Jimmy?
No. It certainly cannot end it. Nigeria is an entity that is bigger than individuals.
How can it function without money? Some are saying local government is dead already. That's what some are saying, that it's dead already because it is the state government that is operating the local government.
Yeah, that is how we are discussing it. So, since if there are people like you in the society that are still interested, then there is hope that things will get better someday. The idea is, you know, we mentioned earlier that the point of entry is a major aspect of it. How do these chairmen come into offices in the local government? You know, my brother mentioned just now that the local government chairman can actually unite and take the matter to court. The only sad thing is very possible. The only sad reality is that you cannot take your master to court.
You can't take your master to court.
Not at all. In fact, before you, if you even have the courage to change your mind and do so, once the governor hears that your signature is there, you'll be removed from office. The thing is this: that one is only not possible because the governors are the ones who are installing these local government chairmen into positions. I think another way we can help this, since the federal government doesn't want to, because they are surrounded by people who are beneficiaries of the early system, and the state governors are not ready to do so. I think the people have to take up the job by themselves, the citizens. How is that going to be possible? If we have thorough information process, people are giving due orientation about the situation we face, and everybody knows that, then let's go to the poll. Even though the governors do not want to conduct local government elections again, but at least sometimes because of the channel, you know, sometimes when they are pushed to the wall, they will not do one shabby local government election. But when we have that opportunity, the people can actually come together with the help of the civil societies, give proper orientation to the people. They will go there, do the voting, and make sure that it is the candidate the governor does not want that comes out. That it is not the candidate that the governor is projected that comes out. So then when these people come on board, I tell you, to be very possible for them to go to court. But the only thing is, will they form majority of the local government chairmen across Nigeria to go to court? That will be the issue. But no matter the number, if we have persons like that who are not kind of political rewardees of Mr. Governor, then they'll be able to go to court. That is the only way.
That's the only way.
Yes.
Well, you heard his solution. He said sending your master, or taking your master to court is not that easily achievable, because some of these local government chairmen are somehow given the back end of the governor in charge of each states in the federation. So taking them to court is a no-no. When does see your name amongst local government chairmen that signed for the autonomy or taking the matter to court, they can just easily remove you? I mean, so I asked him a question: if this is just the beginning of the end of the local government. He said, no, unless we have men of integrity, men of character, are not tied to the state government while they were campaigning. How many of them are not tied to the state government while they are campaigning? So I'm going to ask you the same question, Benjamin. Is this the beginning of the end of the local government, the third tier of government in Nigeria?
It's not the beginning, and it's not even the end. He's actually right that in one way he's right that you cannot take a master to court. Yes, you can. You can take a master to court if you have good integrity yourself. You can't take a master to court to correct the abnormalities of your masters.
But how many of them have integrity? That's another question. How many local government chairmen have integrity?
We relied on the governor to come
that
to
is
the office.
question. That's the question we need to ask ourselves. That's the reason why the people, the populace need to rise up. That's why I made mention of private sectors, civil society, NGOs, and all those things. They see it's not everything like the way the Western world functions. It functions in a parallel form. They don't just function because they have local government, they have state and the federal level. No. They believe there are people who are the local government, who are the state level, who are even more corrupt than the people living in federal. So if the local government chairman cannot come up and do what is necessary of them to do, civil society organization can come up and take the local government, the federal government and the state government to court. Since he thinks that the local government chairman cannot take their masters to court. Inside the 774 local government chairmen in Nigeria today, it's not all of them. It's not all of them are democratically elected. All of them are just like appointees. They are appointed in this.
Yeah, transition committees or HOS, yes.
Yes, exactly. So if you look at it, some of them still have good characters. I'm not saying all of them completely don't have characters. Some of them have integrities. So if these ones can come up, if one person stand up, let it be criticized. If we do not think of, okay, if I do this, what I will eat will not be my problem. How people will fight me will not be my problem. Somebody has to stand up. Just like the way Peter Obi is standing up to to defend the democracy of Nigeria, to tell the system this is wrong and this is what is wrong and this is needed to be done. And he has a lot of backings. He has backings of millions of Nigerians. Somebody from the local government will need to rise up to say, let's do this. And you will find that by the time that person starts, those people that you think that they are afraid, they cannot take their master to court, they will jump on the bandwagon. That is how these things need to be done. Or another way to solve this problem is to allow or a civil society organization or a private individual, a very, very influential individual who have not been in government, will sacrifice his funds or his or her financial whatever well-being status to take this matter up to the court. And you will find out that Nigerians in numbers will come out, both home and in diaspora, across the borders. International communities will jump on it to make sure it becomes a success. The question is, you do not just stay in your home and say you are poor. I want to make an illustration here that you are poor, what have you done? Have you done something to go out of that situation where you find yourself? I know you're going to fail. That's the first thing that comes to your mind. If I start, what about if I fail? What will happen? But do not forget that failure is not actually a failure. Failure, what people regard as failure is for you is actually a success because you have tried. Your name have already been there. But have you also talked of what about if you succeeded? How are people going to celebrate you? Well, first of all, take a step and see if people have the same ideology with you. Somebody need to come forward. Somebody need to come forward and speak up. Have you ever heard of any of these politicians in the local government level, chairmen or councillors, even coming out to able to speak up this heinous crime that is happening in their local government? No.
Good question.
Because if they do, yeah.
They've not come out to speak out.
No, because if they do, they will be arrested. You know why? Because most of them are the ones signing for these funds that is coming to the local government back to the state level. That's what we talk about transparency, accountability, even personal character. Your character, your track record. Before we start voting people into government in Nigeria, we have to look at who they are. What have they done? How many things are they? What is their informations need to be in the general public. Let people know who they are.
All right.
Even those who are married who are at home, let's see how they are treating their wives and their children before we can vote them into office.
All right.
I'm not saying this local government chairman, they have these questionable characters, but for you to stand up against the corrupt enterprise in Nigeria, corrupt politicians in Nigeria, you yourself need to be holy. You yourself need to be clean as the snow in the sky.
All right.
You need to be so clean to an extent that they will throw you up and down. There is nothing to hold you responsible. Just like the way Peter Obi has become
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Benjamin. I don't know if you're able to join us in the second discussion segment, but you said someone should step up to really do something about this. I really appreciate you, but I think I'll let you go for that to consider if you can join us for the second discussion segment have to do with the cost of governance. Then we'll chat you up to get you here if you can really join us because of your tight schedule. All right? Well,
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, Jimmy, you heard him. Someone needs to stand up someone needs to get up. Who do you think will bear the cart in this situation before we take a break for the other discussion segment?
Okay, you know, since the federal government is only crying, using political voice, crying that the state governors are the issue, and the state governors are not ready to change their minds. So I think the issue is coming back to the people, like we said. The issue is coming back to the people. Then the truth is this. You know, the lawyers too. Do you know that since this whole matter has lingered, we do not have lawyers in the country who have stood up to go to the court, approach the court and say, yes, there is a section in the Constitution that says local government does that. But let us seek detailed interpretation of this. Nobody has done so. That aside, maybe that we have lawyers who will be ready to do so. Then the civil society and the people, like we mentioned just now, should come up. And one measure is this. You know, the experience we had in the last attempt in 2014, the state assemblies, those that managed to do it, you know what they did? Nobody witnessed it. They shut their doors, they came out and said, oh, so state House of Assembly voted against local government autonomy. Oh, this one voted for it. No. I think it is time for us to use the tool of transparency. Let the pressure be mounted on state assemblies by civil society and the entire citizens to show their process. If you are doing this voting, if you are voting for this or that, we want to see the list. We want to see our representatives. The man that is representing my constituency, I want to know whether he voted for local government autonomy or not. So let that publication start coming out. Let pressure be on the states, national assemblies to start revealing their processes. If my representative in the state assembly knows that the populace in his constituency, most of them want local government autonomy to stand, and he knows that everybody is going to see his name and what he voted, he's probably going to do the right thing. See what is happening in the National Assembly now. For the few days, we just say, okay, let us follow the Senate live. We started to see some inefficiencies and all of those ones.
Senate, yeah.
Yes. So if there is something like that, if that transparency is allowed, I think we, the citizens, must join the civil society, lead us, mount pressure on the assembly, want to know the proceedings.
All right.
If everybody wants to know, I think the right thing will come out.
All right, thank you so much, Jimmy. Well, you've heard them. It's all about the local government autonomy, the defiance of state government. It's like they're saying no to that, and they are using every means necessary to make sure that they're still in charge indirectly of the local government. A friend of mine said, well, if something is not done about this, it is just going to be the beginning of the end of our local government. Go through the 774 local governments in the Federation. Over 96%, they don't have what we call a local government. Yes, you get to hear Transition Committee Chairman, you get to hear HOS taking charge, you get to see the money being used by the state government for and on behalf of the local government. What does it spell? Do we still have a local government? Or so you say the question to be like the federal government and the state government, full stop. Because right now, as it stands, without autonomy, I don't think the local government will be really, really free. What do you think about this? Look us up on our YouTube channel to drop your points and, of course, your views on this particular issue. How come the state government, they are defiant about letting the local government go? Or is it because of this loyalty thing that you can't take your master to court and all that, or the lack of real power on the side of the federal government to assist the local government from being free from the apron string of the state government? Because it is still happening. Our local governments, they are not free. In other words, they might be suffering, we might not just know, because nobody is saying anything. But the federal government yesterday accused the state government of not letting the local government go, and are crippling the local government. What do you feel about that? It's all about autonomy. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll take a look at the cost of governance. Over 8 billion naira earmarked to take care of just the Federal Executive Council for 4 years, and we are indebted. And we're talking about checking the bloated cost of governance. What do you have to say about this? Don't go away. We'll be right back.